Alrighty then, it's time for the Jungle Maokai game. Let's get this show on the road. And this is also with the Twitchers. Hooray for nostalgia. And this game is a little bit different than the last one because this one, I'll just say it's a bit more challenging. Anyways, a little bit of a Mexican standoff, just throwing stuff at each other. We know where each other are, so we're just kind of poking. And look at both team compositions. So the enemy team is really solid. Their mid to late game is extremely dangerous, but they do not have a direct initiation. On my team's end, our team is rather mid-game centric, and one of the biggest issues we're going to have to face is that our damage is wholly unreliable. Or not unreliable, which is very dangerous to deal, because the players have to put themselves in harm's way, and that could get them easily killed. Anyways, both junglers are already very active and just trying to get some kills in, some ganks in. This doesn't really work out all too well because unfortunately, we still do kill Tristana, but it costs us way more resources and health than it should have, mostly because nobody had a ward to put on that bush. So she got to escape a few seconds of getting barraged by, damage. So that kind of sucked. But still, though, it's a 1-for-1 so far. One kill top lane, one kill bottom lane. They got first blood, but whatever. Both teams are trying to be very, efficient about this because we faced them in the last game. So we're just trying to, both teams are full stacks of 5. It's none of those weird uneven games. Anyways, you might hear some noise in the background because it's Tuesday. It's when all the gardeners decide to, start doing all these things. Anyways, we catch Graves trying to invade me. He slowly gets killed, but he does get killed eventually. I don't know why he was trying to invade so much. He knew I saw him, and he still kind of lingered about. And Cassidy wasn't making any real, ways to go help him or something. So even if it was just me against Graves, I would have hurt him a lot, and it would have been really slow to kill me. So anybody could have shown up to finish him off. So that was just bad decision making from the Graves. And it led to him and the Cassidy dying. So hooray for us. Mostly because, our bottom laner showed up right enough time to help us, to assist us in getting the second kill on the Cassidy. Graves was dead, period. Though then he ends up getting a revenge kill against the Ahri, so... Anyways, running around, clearing wards, putting some of my babies, in solo queue games, you've seen me where I don't, exactly rush the red trinket or control wards. But in these kinds of games, when it's more serious and everybody's working together, I do go more control and do more, ward hunting. By the way, I have to give myself a, bad stumble. That was an atrocious ult. I angled it down, because I thought maybe they were going to engage on my teammates, but I should have seen by the way the positioning was that they were going to be forced to retreat, especially when they saw me. So I should have angled it to catch them as they were to the tower. Because if anything, it would have scared them into going to me, or sticking around for me to trap them, or they would have gotten themselves rooted, right? They would have taken a chance in either one. So that was just a bad ultimate on my part. And then either way, silver lining is that Graves tried doing Dragon by himself, and we stole it, so yeah. But yeah. Right now, my biggest concern is making sure my bottom lane doesn't get destroyed. I need to allow my bottom lane to be released so they can push other towers, and the Tristana cannot be allowed to go into late game. Anyways, Cassidy shows up, and I immediately fight him, pop my ultimate and everything. I take a huge beating from all of them, but thankfully, even though I drop, we're able to get a kill on the Tristana, and I believe they get another kill here on the Nami. Yeah, the Nami gets blown up, stunned, and whatnot, so she gets brought down slowly, just the arcane combat, and then the Cassidy decides to throw his life away. So that's a really, really good situation for us, getting 3 easy kills from them. Not easy kills, I died, but there was 1 free kill. But then my teammates hung around a little too long, and they got revenge killed. So it's a double kill for Tristana, effectively, causing what I was hoping not to happen. Anyways, I'm in top lane, tanking the tower, kill the Garen. Unfortunately, I would have rather that go to the Urgot, who's been struggling in the top lane because the Garen is really aggressive. And honestly, I feel like at this point, Garen is just kind of a counter to a lot of champions now. But either way, I popped my ultimate, and I messed that up. I was supposed to, do the one thing where you angle it backwards or you shoot it so it spawns behind you and traps them. So that was just me screwing up my ultimate again. Because, I'll say nervousness, performance anxiety. But either way, my team comp right now, like I said, is strongest in the early mid game. So now we're sort of trying to push that little advantage. We're together, we're pushing the towers, trying to get us some any cheap kills, poking at them, burning at them. This is where we need to basically dominate the game, or at least get enough of an advantage that when the enemy team's late game starts showing their face, we won't really be far too disadvantaged. So yeah, just right now, control the map, try to get more dragons, and make sure we maintain our farm and get choice kills. It is still extremely even. Anyways, Garen shows up with Graves to stop me and my chickens. You just see me sort of back off, and then just poking damage going on and about. The rest of my team has yet to collapse, so we can't really punish some of their odd movements. Ahri gets a good charm on the Tristana, which leads to her death, and we pop out a lot of it on them, and that causes me. I get the kill, so that's not as good as it could be. My ultimate is down. And then Garen shows up and decimates me. Well, Graves gets the kills, but I get decimated by the Garen. So yeah, it seems to be an extremely even game. On the replay, you can see the enemy team has a bit more gold because their gold spread from the top lane and from the gold spread from their top laner and from their jungler is just way more favored on their part, extremely way more favored. So essentially, they just kind of got way more farm than us. We have a dragon, they don't, so at least we have that going for us. But it's starting to become a concern, at least in this game, because our damage, like I said, is going to start tapering off. We're not exactly tapering off. It's just that the unreliability of it, because it's dangerous, is going to start biting us in the ass if the enemy team gets too big. Essentially, I fear that in team fights, we're going to have situations where some of my teammates have to get in close and dangerous, and thus the Tristana will just gun them down, and she'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. By the way, the Grave is really desperate to get this Rift Herald, but nah, we end up securing it thanks to a smite. And I believe then Ahri ends up being able to catch him here because he's just like hanging about a little too much. Or no, I catch him, deal some damage, and then he gets gunned down by Caitlyn. And then, I chase him a bit more and eventually punch him in the face. And then Garen comes in, takes a bit of damage, but he's extremely tanky, and it's kind of demoralizing. Ahri gets caught, but she flashes away. So we turned that around, but again, it's still showcasing that it's going to be a very interesting late mid game to early late game. Give blue buff to Ahri because, like I said, unlike solo queue, I don't exactly hog everything or I'm vain with my resources. Anyways, I'm hunkering down here, waiting for the Tristana, and unfortunately, this happens. She gets close, and I use my W, but it doesn't follow her. So the W ended just as she used her rocket jump, because in most cases it could be used to follow her, and because I didn't follow her, I didn't get to use my combo on her. Also, I did something stupid. I didn't get into the bush entirely when I was summoning Herald, so she just took out like 2/3 of my health. That was extremely bad, and it results in me getting killed. Although if the Urgot stuck around there, he would have probably been able to finish off the Tristana. Although Cassidy might have been able to kill him too, so whatever, right? A bad decision. It was a bad decision in play for me to summon Herald so close to, the enemy without having been hiding or something. Anyways, fight breaks out, but it's honestly disorganized from all ends. Tristana kills the Ahri, but then Garen gets killed. He gets grounded to mulch, fearing the Kassadin. Then Urgot gets destroyed. Kassadin gets killed. They gave chest to the Tristana, but she's too far gone to be able to be caught. And then she just decides to fight anyways and eventually gets killed. But she gets a triple kill. 7-4-0 Tristana. That is not a good thing. And poor little Nami here, she's just kind of, stuck between the wood and the gun. So, boop, boop, dead. I take basically no damage, which I shouldn't be doing this because Kassadin exists. So for all my taunting, it cost me my ultimate, my flash, and then my life. That was honestly extremely stupid of me. God damn it, I was trying to do it for the laughs of Twitch. You see, Twitch costs lives, man. Graves gets caught, but he's got a stopwatch. He's not going to get grounded to mulch. Kassadin turns around and just annihilates the survivors, or at least annihilates one of the survivors while Graves dies. They give chase to him. He's got little spooky ghosts on him. He gets eventually destroyed, but Ahri takes a huge-ass beating from it. Survives with just a sliver of health. Urgot gives chase to the Nami and eventually destroys her with all these little bombs. I guess she got a little bit too cocky there for some reason and gets killed. So hooray. Meanwhile, Garen is pushing down bottom lane and alongside Tristana eventually showing up. And they have incredible CS lead against my team. It's pretty bad. I just beat up on Tristana. She takes way too much damage than she should have been taking. We chase down the Garen, but he's extremely tanky. And, I don't exactly have enough health to be brave enough to be doing this. Our damage is just not there. Our AD carry is going to basically have to build pure anti-Garen. And the rest of the team has to make sure to be able to deal with the rest of the enemy team, or keep the Caitlyn alive long enough for her to gun down everybody. But that just seems to be like a foregone conclusion at this point. It takes a huge effort, a lot of cooldowns to bring down the Garen, and that's just when he's alone. In the meantime, we do have a kill lead, but it is very obvious even without the replay that our gold is the gold favors the enemy. Anyways, Nami and the Tristana get caught, but as you can see, that at this point, the Tristana just grinds people down. The Ari getting killed by everything, and then all of us kind of just teaming up on the Tristana and beating her to death. So it was a kill for our mage and for their carry, which is honestly a good trade-off. I go get the blue buff. I was meaning to give the brand, but I ended up getting it. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, so far, again, this game is extremely even, and that makes it pretty damn good. For the most part, the enemy team has the advantage right now because we haven't fought them in a full-on team fight, or at least a good team fight. But in the sort of skirmishes we've had, it's been very difficult and one-sided against them. Here, we honestly chase a little bit too much, and we're a little uncoordinated. I popped my ultimate in to grab the Garen because I also thought the Graves was there, and then we just sort of do as much damage as we can, but it's not even enough. He barely takes half his health and damage. The rest of the enemy team gets poked. My team actually takes quite a bit of damage on some important characters. Tristana gets chunked, and then nothing happens. We just kind of take the turret and back off. Urgot is teleporting away or outside of the bush, so that makes Garen envious that he's in the bush, and so thus Garen turns around to finish him off. I do everything I can to protect him, but it's unfortunate he ends up killing him. And then Garen is a little bit of a bad spot now, so he gets killed too, but it, again, takes a whole lot of effort. We give chase to the Nami, I flash over just to make sure I control her, but honestly should not have done that because it assumes, there's a Kassadin pushing top lane, and I could have probably used that flash with a W against the Tristana, who now just kind of destroyed the rest of my team. Then Kassadin and Ahri kill each other. Tristana and Ahri kill each other. So, yeah, it's just like... But neither team can get any full-on victory so far. But like I mentioned earlier, smaller victories are more magnified for the enemy team because every victory, regardless of them dying, pushes them stronger into the stronger late game. So again, Tristana is such a colossal threat, and Garen is just so frustrating to get rid of. Here, we go for the Baron and we go in, and it's honestly not perfect because we're not coordinated for this, and I end up using my ultimate to try to reset the fight, but also try to keep an eye on the Baron. My Ahri got chunked down and eventually gets killed by the Kassadin. We turn on the Kassadin, and unfortunately, him with the stopwatch or lasagnas means he basically gets to survive off this, and we don't finish him off. And then the Tristana just kind of guns us down from a good range. But she puts herself in a really silly spot, and I think she ends up getting killed. I don't remember, but we essentially got full-on wiped out in the first actual team fight we had, which was fought poorly, and because of that, we lost. But hey, it was honestly a really good game, wasn't it? So there's no real shame in that. Yay.
And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos because YouTube and stuff.